Can't tell you how excited I am at the thought of PCC as a church gathering in communities all over the peninsula to pray, to serve, to grow, to celebrate. I just think what we're doing here in these smaller communities is so vital to our mission of impacting our community for Jesus Christ. So let me applaud you first and foremost for gathering in these communities, and let me encourage you to really make it a priority to make these meetings. Everything you wanted at a church will happen so much more effectively here in these communities and not as much at 3560 Farm Hill Boulevard. We're not taking away at all from what we do on Sundays, but if we really want to be and function as a church, it's going to happen much more intimately and effectively and thoroughly right where you're at in this community. So I pray, and I have prayed, that Satan's hands would be off, that God would protect what's happening here as you gather around the Word to pray, serve, grow, celebrate. It would just bring your world and your life to a whole new level. So as we kick off this first time, let me ask you a question. Where do you go to discover how big God is? You're standing, or I'm standing, at the place where I love to go. It's one of two places for me. I like to go to the oceans. And believe it or not, it's a hot summer day here in Half Moon Bay. Welcome to August in Half Moon Bay. I think of what God told Job in Job 38 when he said, where were you when I made the oceans? When I sit here at the waves crashing, it just lets me know I'm so small compared to God. The other place I go is the heavens. As a little kid, I would always stargaze. And I would look up at night and look at the stars. And now as a big kid, I take my girls out to our porch, or when we're on vacation at Donner Lake, it's a favorite vacation spot for us, we look at the vast skies. Psalm 19 says, the heavens speak forth the glory of God. God is huge, much, much bigger than we can even imagine. I want you to look at a video of one of my favorite pastors, just a quick one, to put us in perspective as we start. Francis Chan.
What you're seeing right now. First of all, this is the Earth. Okay, just you're taking off from the Earth from Southern California, and we're gonna rise up for a little bit here. Okay, we're gonna pull away from it. We're gonna pull higher. Now this is at about 10 kilometers. Like if you climb Mount Everest, this is what you'd see. You'd see the curvature of the Earth from that distance. Now we're gonna climb up even higher. This is at 100 kilometers. And you're a fourth of the way to the space station now. This is what you'd see. If you get to this level, you're considered an astronaut. Just if you ever get there. Okay, now we're going 100,000 kilometers. 100,000 kilometers from the Earth. You're a fourth of the way to the moon. That's what the Earth would look like. Now we're going to pull away to 1,000,000 kilometers. At 1,000,000 kilometers, there's the moon. Okay, there's the moon. You can barely see the Earth. You're at 1,000,000 kilometers now. You're past the moon, and now we're going to go to 100 million kilometers. 100 million kilometers. You're still not to the sun. The sun's 93 million miles away, but now we're going to go to 10 trillion kilometers. There's the sun. Okay, you just passed the sun. Now you would see all of the planets at 10 trillion kilometers, and now we're at 10 to the 15th power. That means 10 with 15 zeros. I don't know what that number is. 15 zeros, and the sun's just like a bright dot amidst other stars. And now we're going to 10 light years away. At 10 light years away, come on, let's go. Zoom, there you go. 10 light years away. Now you just see the sun with like 11 other stars that are kind of its neighbors. That's our sun. And now we're going to go 1,000 light years away. At 1,000 light years away, you wouldn't even see our sun anymore. These are just a bunch of stars close to it in this cluster inside the Milky Way. Now we're going to zoom out even further, and that's the Milky Way we live in. See that cluster of stars? Those are about 100,000 stars that are closest to our sun. You can't see our sun anymore at this point. Now this is our Milky Way galaxy, and forget about the Earth. Okay, there's our Milky Way galaxy that we live in. And we're just buried in there somewhere. And we're going to pull out even further, and you'll see that our galaxy is actually It's a big galaxy, and all those other things you're seeing now are galaxies. And we're going to pull away 10 million light years now. His next scene is 10 million light years. Those are all galaxies you see. Amidst our Milky Way, several hundred galaxies. Now we're going to go 100 million light years away. This is the last one. We're going to zoom out to 100 million light years. Those are all clusters of galaxies. Galaxies and clusters of galaxies. You won't even see our Milky Way galaxy anymore amidst that.
You know, it's one thing to understand how big God is, or try to understand it. It's a whole different thing to focus on what we're going to focus on in this first session, and that is how big God's love is for you. The Apostle Paul tried to get this across to the church of Ephesus, and in Ephesians chapter 3, verse 17, he said this, as he was praying for them, I pray that you, being rooted and established in love, may have power together with all the saints to grasp how high and long and deep is the love of Christ, and to know that this love surpasses knowledge, that you may be filled to the measure of the fullness of God. Think about that. The more I grasp God's love for me through Jesus, is the more I'll be filled to the measure of the fullness of God. We all want to be God-saturated people. It's the understanding of His love for us that brings that about. My fear in doing this whole love series, iLove, is that some of us would take a yawn and go, yeah, great, the love of God. Can't we move on to deeper things? I want you to know this is the critical issue that we will wrestle with the rest of our lives as followers of God. So do you know how much God loves you?